Good morning. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to Live with Liz. It feels a little surreal to keep carrying on in the world and doing our work and doing our business, knowing that our friends and colleagues in Ukraine are fighting for their lives. And so with that in mind, and as we talk about conference preparation today, which is the topic of Live with Liz, I will be hoping with desperation that our Ukraine colleagues are safe, their families are safe, and that they can join us at these conferences later this year, and that we return to some normalcy. Gosh, just when we thought we were getting over COVID, this happens. What a world. On that happy note, conference preparation is important. We're still planning to come back to conferences. It seems that the season is upon us. There are a lot of live events planned for this year, which is refreshing and I think needed. And I think there will be a lot of awkward hugs going on, which if you see me at a conference, please, I fully embrace the awkward hug. And I have to say, conference preparation sometimes is an afterthought, is something that maybe is in the back of your mind that you think, okay, I need to do something, but you're not quite sure what it is, or you might just do the minimum because you don't really have the time. You play a very short game instead of a long one. I know there are a lot of people who really surprise me because they take the approach to a conference as, just another day, something fun, get on a plane, or maybe, drive somewhere, but go to see a bunch of people and wing it. They just don't have any strategy planned, yet they still find success in attending these conferences, meeting new people, and getting some business. But even you successful wingers out there can benefit from having a strategic plan in place and approaching a conference with a plan, with an idea of what you're trying to accomplish. Often I find that people who are attending these conferences in the hopes of finding new clients or meeting with current clients don't really consider themselves. You're really focused on just maybe the people who you're planning to meet and a few minor goals or major goals for you, perhaps, that kind of take up all of your time without looking at the bigger picture of what the opportunity could truly provide. And so with that in mind, I say start your conference prep early. It's even sometimes a year in advance or a year and a half in advance, and put your proposals in, think about the budgets, get everything done logistically. And once you've got that notion of where you're going or the approvals in place, then you can truly think about a more holistic strategic approach to the conference. So start with that, but then think of yourself. So next and high on the priority list should be thinking about yourself, not just your clients, but what your needs are, what you're trying to accomplish. Revisit that individual development plan if you've got one. Consider your goals. Consider what you're trying to achieve and how this particular conference may help you achieve your goals. Often you'll find that no one attends a program. I'm shocked and no longer shocked actually at how often I hear people saying, I've been to INTA for 10 years and have never sat on a program. I think that's a missed opportunity, and I'm sorry for you because the programming is so rich and the speakers are so engaging often, and there's a lot that can be accomplished at a program without without wasting your time. You might think that it's crucial to have that meeting, but perhaps it's not. So think about what it is you're trying to accomplish and how the conference might fit in with that. Maybe you're volunteering for the association that's hosting it. Maybe you're participating in some sort of planning. The more involved you get with the organizations that are hosting these conferences, the more likely it is that you will have opportunities to speak. Because it's ironic that the same people who say they've never been to a program are the people who say, I never get speaking gigs, or I'd like to have a speaking gig. I'd like to be on a panel somewhere. I'd like to share my expertise and get that spotlight on me. If that is one of the goals that you have, then you certainly could benefit from maybe considering what the program looks like and participating more fully with the organization and what they're offering, and not just the sideshow, not just the meetings that you book apart from the structure of the overall event. This year, I think it's particularly important as people are kind of pouring their heart and souls into making these things come to life again. And it's definitely worth considering what's being offered on the whole. So when you're scheduled, you've got your plan in place, everything's approved, you get yourself registered. You really want to take advantage of all of the information about the event that's happening before it actually happens. You want to think far enough in advance to be able to benefit yourself, because you can use your participation in this event to promote your services, your expertise before the event, at the event, and after the event. And when you're strategic about it, you have a fuller opportunity to do these things rather than something that's so reactive when you just attend. So before the event, you want to think, what kind of content is here? Where does my expertise fit in? Can I publish something about it? Let's do a social media campaign. Now, we're not neglecting the business development aspect in terms of actually meeting people, new clients, potential clients, current clients. Those are all very important. So you're probably, or maybe you'll do an email blast that says, hey, client, colleague, it's been a while, need a hug, or maybe not say that, but perhaps you'll say something like, hey, I'm going to be at this conference and I would love to see you there. Let's schedule a meeting. Some people will do this in an automated way. Some people will have their firms take care of it on a much broader scale. Maybe you'll post that on LinkedIn. Maybe you'll do it that way. But instead of just putting yourself out there for the masses, that is also something that you can be a little bit more strategic about. And you can do it even when you take that step back and say, think about yourself. Think about the expertise you want to share, the practice areas you're trying to expand. Who do you want to meet at this event? Not just anyone who sets a meeting with your calendar link. You want to meet people who can grow your business, who can be good referrals resources, who can be partners and allies with you, who can support the growth of your career, and people who you can do the same thing for, because those symbiotic relationships tend to lead to more business later on. And of course, we can't neglect the number one thing I say when you're going to a conference, especially if you're a newbie going to conferences, especially in the legal environment. You really want to make friends. This is also maybe cultural, not just for Americans, but Brazilians resonate with this as well. And actually, a lot of people like to work with people they know, but also like to work with people they consider friends. So, of course, you want to make sure that you have the time to enjoy the conference and to take advantage of the social networking opportunities, not online, in person, and really use that to your advantage to grow your network, to meet new people, that sort of thing. But consider who they are and be strategic about it. And that's another place where the programming might become interesting again. Maybe if it's been a while since you've cracked open a program or clicked on a link that said, this is the content that this conference is offering, this is the year to do that. Take a look, see what all of the titles are, even if you don't need a CLE, even if you're from a country or jurisdiction that does not require you to have continuing legal education, there can still be value in the content that's being created, in the material that's being shared, and the expertise that's being highlighted at these events. I use INTA as an example, which if you have not registered, the early bird deadline is March 4th. That is this Friday. Get on it, people. And remember that you can actually change your mind the entire month of March. You can get a full refund up till April 1st. So there's really no downside to getting in on that early bird pricing and getting registered. The International Trademark Association conference is one of the ones that I learned on. It was it's one of the conferences I've attended for years and years, and I have used it to further my career, to meet new people. I've had a lot of success in terms of getting business for myself and for clients. And it is one of those conferences where you can really learn about putting these strategies together no matter what level of your career. And if you're in intellectual property, it almost doesn't matter what area of practice you are. It's the kind of conference that, with a strategic approach, offers something for almost everyone on your team. That includes trademark administrators, paralegals, that includes people who are on the business side sometimes. It often includes people who are doing licensing and franchising, and not just the traditional, not only the trademark attorneys on your team, but the broader intellectual property folks can all find something of value there. And because this is the largest event, that it offers a lot of opportunities that other conferences don't. So if this is, I wouldn't necessarily just throw caution to the wind and just wing it for INTA, but a lot of people do and have a good time. I understand that there are over 3,000 people registered already for this event in person, so very excited about it. And what I recommend is taking a look at that program and choosing not everything. You don't have to do every piece of programming under the sun, but look and see, is there a corporate representative speaking at a company that you have targeted as a potential client? Or are there people speaking who are in a field of expertise that you're trying to grow, or people who you'd like to meet on these panels? It's not hopeless to meet them, even though the sea is large and there are a lot of people at INTA, you can still go to these sessions and be very strategic about how you approach them. But go ahead and put your top 2 or top 3 sessions on your calendar. Block off that time from meetings and say, these sessions are important to me. I'd like to attend them. And then I would say, fill up your calendar with sessions for all of the other times as well, so that you always have a backup plan for if a meeting that you have scheduled maybe gets canceled, or you can't find each other, or someone at the last minute can't make it, which we fully expect to be a possibility this year. You can always take advantage of that time while you're at the conference to do something that is meaningful and takes advantage of the opportunity. So once you're in that room and you've chosen something, it's a good idea to think about a question that's relevant that you could ask someone. And you can say, hey, um, I'm really interested in what you've got to say. Thank you for sharing your expertise with me. Would it be okay if I connect with you afterward? And maybe you can go up to them after the panel is over and get their contact information. Now, that's not always possible, and there's not always a classy way of doing that, but there often is. And you can make new connections just as you're sitting there with other people who are interested in the same content and expertise that you are interested in. So maybe you have this chance to not only get CLE, but also use it as a networking opportunity with people aligned with the services that you're providing, hopefully with people you don't know, and you can take advantage of that as something to grow your business in a way that maybe you hadn't thought of the value that this content could offer before, the programming could provide for you. If you have a bigger team, you could send a bunch of associates and say, go to all the programs, or have all the meetings that you don't want to have with people who maybe you don't know, or who you don't see as relevant to the services that you're providing, but maybe they are, and you don't want to slight them. You want to make sure your team meets with people. And sometimes getting those meetings can be difficult. What do? You want to figure out who's attending, sure, but maybe you don't even need to know that, and you can just reach out to the people who you might normally expect or would like to see anyway and say, hey, by the way, are you attending this conference? I'll be there in person. It would be great to see you. If you don't know someone, reaching out to them and asking for a meeting can seem a daunting task where rejection is inevitable, but have a thick skin about it and go ahead and ask, but don't just bombard the masses, and don't just send random emails to people who don't want to meet with you. You want to make sure that it's relevant for both parties and beneficial, and be interested in them and give them a reason to meet with you. This is something that I'm always surprised by, these emails that come in that say, hey, I offer the best services in my country, and my law firm has the best rates. You should meet with me. Now, I've paraphrased and given you not the best example, but you probably know what I'm talking about. And you've probably received some of these email invitations before. Meet with me. Here's an introduction to my firm. Here's everything we've done. Or check out my pedigree. This is everything about me before we have a meeting. Now, instead of doing that, say, I saw that case that you were working on. I saw a publication on that case and just wanted to see if we could meet, because I've got another case that I think is very interesting that you might want to hear about. Or I'm very interested in the work that you're doing. Or maybe we went to the same school, or find some sort of a connection with them. Maybe you're similarly in your careers. You're going through and saying, I'd love to meet with this person because they're focused in the same area. We have the same background. It makes sense for us to meet. Not just, I want to meet with them because they're a partner and probably a decision maker, and that's the person I want to have in my world. You want to have somebody who you can relate to. Oi, deseo, tudo bem? I think it's just a matter of being considering what the opportunities are when these conferences come about. And then, on top of it, what your overall strategy is. So remember what I said in the beginning, visit your individual development plan, think about your goals, think about your strategy. Do you want to, maybe you need to publish beforehand so that if people look you up, they can see some fresh content from you that says you're an expert in this area that you want to talk to them about. That may make you more relevant to meet with. Or afterward, what you've learned at the conference could be the source of material for you to expand your own understanding to give your expert perspective on later. So all of these things are part of making the most of these conferences. And if you even take away one of these tips, you'll be more successful than you were if you were to just wing it, which even if you are, I'd still like to see you there. Anyway, I have gone overtime this week, which is not so usual for me, but join us on Wednesdays for Live with Liz. We talk about legal marketing and business development. And if there's something you want us to cover or you have any questions about attending these conferences, or if you'd like our event tracker, give us a message, solutions@firmforward.com. Follow us on social media @firmforward, almost everywhere. And hope to see you next time on Live with Liz.